Chapter 4, Polymorphism Assuming Different Forms 1. Introduction. In Java, it is possible to define two or more methods within the same class that share the same name, as long as their parameter declarations are different. When this is the case, the methods are said to be overloaded, and the process is referred to as method overloading. The compiler will resolve the call to a correct method depending on the actual number and / or types of the passed parameters. Polymorphism literally means being able to assume different forms. Polymorphism is an important and powerful concept in OOP. It is the ability to process objects in a hierarchy differently depending on their actual class type. B/C of polymorphism, you can easily create extensible classes. In OOP, calling a method is often referred to as sending a message to an object. The object responds to the message by executing the appropriate method. 2. Polymorphism. Polymorphism just means that different objects can respond to the same message in different ways. Polymorphism can work for both variable/states and method/behaviors of objects. However, two powerful polymorphic concepts are often useful when you define a class: method overloading and method overriding. Java implements polymorphism through method overloading and method overriding. 3. Method overloading. In the Java language, a method is uniquely identified by its name and a list of parameters. Therefore, it is legal to define two methods with the exact same name, but with different parameters. In such cases, the methods are said to be overloaded, and the process is referred to as method overloading. Method overloading allows you to reuse the same method name repeatedly, but with varying parameters and results. Method overloading is actually not limited to use with inheritance. 4. Method overloading. You can overload methods in the same class. You can overload methods defined in a superclass. You have been calling an overloaded method since the beginning of this course. The println method you call via the system.out variable is an overloaded method. 10 versions of this method are defined, each with a different parameter type. Every version of println method prints the parameter that you pass to it and adds a carriage return to the end. 5. Method overloading. The alternative to println approach is to define a method for each possible type. A print string, print int, and print char method can be defined. Do you see the benefit of method overloading now? Without it, you would have to memorize all those methods to print data. When an overloaded method is invoked, Java uses the type and / or number of arguments as its guide to determine which version of the overloaded method to actually call. 6. Method overloading. Thus, overloaded methods must differ in the type and / or number of their parameters. While overloaded methods may have different return types, the return type alone is insufficient to distinguish two versions of a method. When Java encounters a call to an overloaded method, it simply executes the version of the method whose parameters match the arguments used in the call. Thus, overloaded methods must differ in the type and / or a number of their parameters. Here is sample example of method overloading, / demonstrate method overloading. Class overload demo void test, system.out.println, no parameters, / overload test for one integer parameter. Void test, int a, system.out.println, a, plus a, / overload test for two integer parameters. Void test, int a, int b, system.out.println, a and b, plus a plus b, 7. Cont / overload test for a double parameter double test, double a, system.out.println, double a, plus a, return a asterisk a, this the main class public class method overloading public static void main, string args, overload demo ob equals new overload demo, double result, / call all versions of test, ob test, 10, ob test, 10, 20, result equals ob test, 123.25, system.out.println, result of ob test, 123.25 plus result, 8. Cont, as you can see, test, is overloaded 4 times. The first version takes no parameters, the second takes one integer parameter, the third takes two integer parameters, and the fourth takes one double parameter. The fact that the fourth version of test also returns a value is of no consequence relative to overloading, since return types do not play a role in overload resolution. In general, there are 3 ways to overload a method. In order to overload a method, the argument lists of the methods must differ in either of these: number of parameters, data type of parameters, sequence of data type of parameters. 9. 10. Public class overloaded. Public void say hello, system.out.println, hello, public void say hello, string name, system.out.println, hello plus name, public void say hello, string name, int count, 4, int I equals 0, int count, I plus plus, say hello, name, public static void main, string args, overloaded equals new overloaded, overloaded.say hello, overloaded.say hello. Abraham, overloaded.say hello, Goodada. 3. Method overloading. Here are the important facts concerning overloaded methods. When you overload a method, the name must be exactly the same, and the parameter list must be different. There is no escaping this rule. Although you can have a different return type, it is not enough to only have a different return type. Keep in mind that you can overload methods defined in the same class or any superclass. A final method can be overloaded. A static method can be overloaded. 11. Method overriding. Declaring a method in subclass which is already present in parent class is known as method overriding. When a method in a subclass has the same name and type signature as a method in its superclass, then the method in the subclass is said to override the method in the superclass. A method overrides an existing method if it has the same return type and exactly equal number of parameters. When an overridden method is called from within a subclass, it will always refer to the version of that method defined by the subclass. The version of the method defined by the superclass will be hidden. 12. Rules of method overriding in Java. Argument list. The argument list of overriding method of child class, must match the overridden method, the method of parent class. The data types of the arguments and their sequence should exactly match. Access modifier of the overriding method of subclass, cannot be more restrictive than the overridden method of parent class. For e.g., if the access modifier of parent class method is public, then the overriding method, child class method, cannot have private, protected and default access modifier. Because all of these 3 access modifiers are more restrictive than public. For e.g., this is not allowed as child class disp method is more restrictive, protected, than base class, public. 13. Cont class my base class public void disp / public modifier method system.out.println, parent class method, class my child class extends my base class protected void disp / protected modifier method system.out.println, child class method, public static void main, string args, my child class obj equals new my child class, object disp / if you run the sample code exception in thread main java.lang.error, unresolved compilation problem, cannot reduce the visibility of the inherited method from my base class. 14. Method overriding, class A int I, j, a, int b, I equals a, j equals b, / display I and j void show, system.out.println, I and j, plus I plus j, class B extends A int k, b, int a, int b, int c, super, a, b, k equals c, void show, system.out.println, k, plus k, 15. Method overriding. If you wish to access the superclass version of an overridden function, you can do so by using super keyword in the same way we have discussed in inheritance. Little important points about method overriding. Methods with differing type signatures are overloaded, not overridden. Methods cannot be overwritten in the same class. Final method cannot be overwritten. Static method cannot be overwritten. 16. Class B extends A int K, B, int A, int B, int C, super, A, B, K equals C, void show, super dot show, / this calls A's show, system dot out dot println, K, plus K, 17.